partnerships are sometimes wonderful, and sometimes they don't endure.
Sure. Like
so
relationships.
kind of like all human relationships.
Well, yeah, they are relationships. They're like marriages, and if you have a writing partner long enough and you do enough projects, when you break up your partnership, you have to have a dissolution agreement. Literally, it's like a divorce, and you sit down and you have a lawyer divide up your partnerships. And it's important that you have to keep yourself established as an individual, as a writer. So you don't want to depend on anybody else. So it's a little give and take there.
So I'm going to take advantage of you, David, because you have a legal background. So we're on partnership, which is a really interesting, and let's expand that idea into collaboration, not just a formal writing partnership, although they're different. One of the things I notice is that at the beginning of any relationship or any opportunity of collaborative opportunity, it's a honeymoon period. Everyone's excited, everyone's looking forward, everyone sees great, big, wonderful outcomes. And hopefully that's the case. That said, I find many creatives, many human beings are so enamored of the possibility before them that they forget to ask some very fundamental groundstroke kinds of questions like, what if, and so do you encourage, and for your own sake, if you collaborate with one of your students, is a good example, do you have some kind of understanding, either verbal and or written, about how that script is going to be treated, who's going to represent it, who gets to make decisions, what if there's a sort of a stalemate, if you will? Do you have ground rules or rules of engagement when you collaborate?
Sure. You always want those rules of engagement, because otherwise it can get messy legally, and it can, people's feelings can be hurt, and there's misunderstandings. You want to set out up front, and it's a lot easier up front to lay out what you're doing. If you're writing one script with someone, and it's based, like I've written a script with someone, and it's based on his idea, and so our deal was he got 60% of any money we made, I got 40%, and when it came down to veto power, we agreed to let him have veto power over any major creative issues. And I just said, you know what, you can have that. If it was reversed, and I optioned a book that we were going to write a script based on, then I might say, look, I want the veto power on this, or we'll have a third party, we'll have the book author decide. And so you want to have a mechanism in place to solve problems. Otherwise, you go, a deal happens, or something happens where there's just a stalemate, and the partnership looks unprofessional, because in the eyes of someone who wants to option your project or buy it, you're just these two bickering children rather than a partnership that knows the business. The other thing is, there's also, when I started out, I used to fight. I want to be the decision maker. I want to control it. But then I started realizing there's such a great freedom in not having to be that person, and just saying, you know what, if we have a problem, you decide. And I've done that before, and it sort of takes the pressure off, and it makes it a lot easier to be creative than having two people fight.